Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show. Wherever you are tuning in from around the world, I wanted to warmly welcome you. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, you know the drill. If you've watched the show before, smash the like. This helps grow this channel and get this content out to more people. I really appreciate that. And of course, love all the comments and the questions from this amazing community. So grateful for each and every one of you who take the time to make a comment or a question. I look to get back to those as quickly as possible. And of course, if you'd love to join our ever-growing community, you can smash the subscribe button there and you'll get notified whenever I have a new video that comes out. All right, we're going to jump straight into the news before looking at the charts. And there's a lot of news to get through. Let me tell you, there's been some fun activity over these last few days. But you can see here that Peter Brandt points out the price history of Bitcoin halving cycles. And if we look here, we can actually see in this current one, you can kind of screenshot this or have a look at this, but you can kind of just see right now that we're 16 weeks in, and generally it's taken, apart from this first cycle here, 8 weeks. So this is a little bit of an outlier here. So let's go more with this 24 and 25 week here. Then, we're kind of about eight weeks away if the cycle will continue to follow previous cycles for us getting back to the all-time high there. So I thought that was quite interesting there, just a little bit of historical data, which history doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes, okay? And then we have, of course, the money printer being turned on. Now, this isn't new news, but I think for a lot of people may have forgotten when this was announced, and just the timing of it feels very serendipitous that starting tomorrow, which is starting today, the US will start 30 billion per month treasury buybacks. The money printer is being turned back on, okay? And then also we have here that the USA about to launch a 50 billion treasury buyback program. You can see the buybacks in August, September, October. The printers are back on. This is a form of quantitative easing and money being pushed into the market. So I think this is bullish for the market. And also just read as well that obviously Japan is going to be pausing any further interest rate hikes. So I think that's also fairly bullish for the market as well. So you got those two catalysts, the US beginning their buyback program today and injecting liquidity into the markets, and Japan pausing their interest rate hikes there. Okay. Also, in the past 48 hours or so, Bitcoin whales acquired over 30,000 Bitcoin, 1.62 billion. So you can see here some data on that. Whales were buying the dip. How much were whales buying the dip? They weren't just buying the dip over the last 48 hours. Whales were buying the dip for the last 30 days. Over 400,000 Bitcoin have moved to permanent holder addresses. Okay, they have been accumulating. So while let's say smart money has been accumulating and dumb money has been selling, okay? And so yesterday we saw a record number of coins sold at a loss comparable to the ban on mining in China and the collapse of the FTX exchange. And so this is just crazy for me how people sold in such a loss. And certainly for me, just to say that when do I sell in dips? I don't sell in dips. The only time I really sell in dips is when I'm moving one coin to another, where I'm going, hey, this is a non-performing coin. I'm now going to move it over to a stronger performing coin that is now also in a dip. Quite often, stronger performing coins are not in a dip. And so it gives an opportunity to move that liquidity over. I'm not really selling at a loss. I'm just moving that loss over to a different project. And maybe that's what a lot of people are doing here. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you can see here that a record number of coins sold at a loss. Remember, you don't realize a loss until you sell. And so just some words there. JP Morgan says institution bought the dip while retail aggressively panic sold. So retail sold 1 billion, where institutions bought up 14 billion. This mentality is why the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. Remember, I always teach on this channel, we buy weakness, we buy dumps, we buy dips, okay? and then we sell, and we buy fear, we buy extreme fear, and we sell into pumps, we sell into strength, okay? And so having a plan is so, so important. I've covered this on this channel before. And again, we see checkmatey here, maybe checkmatey's an Australian, could be. Short-term holders puked out so many coins yesterday, they locked in losses at a similar scale to when FTX collapsed. So disappointing that there was such fear that caused people to panic sell like this. And in the end, it didn't turn out to be as catastrophic. Now, of course, maybe we'll have a lower dip, and maybe there'll be some more fear in the market, and we'll address that and cross that bridge if we get to it. But so far, we've seen a pretty good recovery, and there wasn't the bloodbath in the stock market that many people had predicted. I've talked to you before about the RSI, and the RSI can quite often be a bottom signal. We look on the daily RSI, and Bitcoin has entered the oversold zone for the 5th time in the cycle. Every time the RSI dips below 30 has been a good opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin. So you can see here that's marked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And even this one here, if you take profit here, and here's the thing, and I'll say this, is that traders often get trapped. They get trapped not taking profit because of greed. I'm an aggressive profit taker. I was watching a trader the other day, and he was just saying that often he doesn't even get to take profit targets. He takes profit before. And I can be a little bit like that as well. I'm just like, there's profit there, I'm going to take it. The market feels greedy, oversold. I'm just going to, because I don't want to try and time the exact top of the market. If I do, it's great. Just like I'm not trying to time the exact bottom of the market. If I do, it's great. But look, I'm just looking to get into the market when the market's in fear, and get out of the market when the market is in greed. And so I think a lot of people panic sold because they didn't take profits up the top at 70K, and therefore they panicked out of their positions. If you take in profit, then you look and say, well, I've my original capital off the table. And this really should be the goal, in my opinion. Well, this is my goal anyway, and I hope this would be the goal of every trader. Get your original capital out as profit, and then it's house money. It's like going to the casino, and you go to the casino, and let's just say you have $100, okay? The real casino, not the crypto casino, okay? The real physical casino. And you win $100. Let's say you win $200. Well, guess what? You take that money out, and you put it in your pocket, okay? You take your $100 out, and then you trade with your winnings. And then if you lose your winnings, worst case scenario, you walk away with the money in your pocket. It's sad to see that so many people panic sold at a loss when really they had taken profit. Sure, they could sell or whatever, or they don't need to bother. Because like, well, hey, I put $100 in, I've got 100 or 200 in my pocket, no big deal. And if the market tanks, worst case scenario, I haven't lost anything. It's just house money. And so this is where I teach on my channel. Watch the Life Changing Game series, all linked in my cheat sheet, which is linked below in the description, where you can learn about where to take profit, how to take profit, where to get entries, what are the best entries, what are the coins that I'm trading at the moment. And therefore, you get in a place where you get that profit out, that original capital out as quickly as profit, so that what you're trading is with house money. Okay, we'll move on to the next. I did digress there, but I think that was important information to know, because I do see this quite a bit. People saying, oh, I was in $10,000 profit and now I'm in $15,000 loss. Well, why didn't you take profit when you were $10,000 in profit? This is where it comes down to having the multi-strategy crypto strategy. You have one bag hodl and one bag where you're accumulating trading that you're constantly taking profits in. That way, because people worry, they go, oh, if I take profits too early and then it keeps going up, I've diluted myself. Great. Well, therefore, have a bag where you are swing trading, and I have a swing trading tab now that I've added to the cheat sheet to help you with that if you want to have this multi-portfolio. Now, to have the multi-portfolio, usually you do need to have separate exchanges for that, is highly recommended. not necessary, but it's a little bit harder to track. If you all have it in one exchange, you've got to know how many coins are in this one and how many coins this one. They're all kind of joined together. It can become very confusing. So I do recommend having different exchanges. I have all the exchange links below. Bitfinex, for those who are in the USA, is a great one that I've found. But also for those not in the USA, KuCoin also is an exchange that has a multi portfolio situation, so you can have a hodl and a trading account, and they're kept separate there as well. And Bybit does the same, and I'm not sure if any of the others do, but there's a couple there. Otherwise, you can just use different exchanges. People are extremely bearish on Bitcoin and place massive short position. Bitcoin typically moves in the opposite direction. Look, every time there has been, you can see here when the funding rate has gone really low, has been a good time to buy Bitcoin. When RSI's low, funding rate is low, good time to buy Bitcoin. And I teach these methods to help you identify local bottoms and, of course, local tops when the funding rate is peaking out. Usually it's a good time. When the RSI is overbought, it's a good time usually to take some profits. We talked about the hash ribbons. And look, we talked about how the hash ribbons, possible invalidation, because we did close under by March. But then the next day we did open above the local low of the July 4th crash. So I'm looking at this more of a black swan. I'm not sure. I think the hash ribbons, in my opinion, because even though you saw it dump hard here to the buy signal, what happened? And you saw it dump hard here after the buy signal. I think we're going to get a rise out of here. Well, you can see when it dumped here, it went up. It was only really the 3 times it's failed in 19 for the hash ribbons buy signal, but it only the big failure in the last 2 cycles was the COVID crash down, the black swan event in March of 2020. But then multiple buy signals happened again fairly soon after that. So now we could see some more moves to the downside, no doubt. My feeling is that the bottom here, this local bottom that we just had on this dump, is most likely in. And so certainly I do see us moving out from here. I do feel that we can have a little bit of a retrace, and I'll share that in the charts a little later. We also had the altcoin index put in an inverse head and shoulders. So I don't know if there's any historical data on that, but that seems fairly bullish to me. A little bit of a head and shoulders. It's only taken 2 years. Good things take time. But at some point, everybody is like, altcoins, we need an altcoin season. The altcoin bags have taken an absolute hammering there. And so seeing a little bit of a push to the upside for some altcoin season would be a welcome sight, in my opinion, no doubt. We also had the Bitcoin VIX. So this was something interesting that I hadn't seen before. But certainly if you take the Bitcoin chart and you do the Bitcoin VIX pairing, you can see that whenever it's touched, the Bitcoin VIX has touched this trend line, we've seen good things happen. Here it's touched and Bitcoin took off. Here it's touched, and we're getting a touch on it again. So is this time different? I think it won't be. I think we're going to follow, and we're going to see some upside there to the upside some point in the next, according to the Peter Brandt chart, it was 24 and 25 weeks last time, that chart we shared at the beginning. So maybe just another 8 weeks there. This is really interesting too. The VIX has increased by 88% over the last 3 weeks, the 15th biggest 3-week spike ever. Here's a look at how the S&P 500 has fared following big VIX spikes in the past. The volatility index, certainly look to add that to your trading view charts there. But you can see mostly it's been quite a positive result. So I think it was really a buy the dip opportunity when you see these kind of indicators that have generally marked local bottoms for both stocks and, of course, crypto. And I do have stocks on the cheat sheet as well. We'll have a look at that at the moment. So the question is, did you all buy the dip? Let me know in the comments if you bought the dip, and let me know what you bought, and let me know if you got a low. I love hearing that somebody mentioned that they bought Tau at 188, and obviously it went up like $100 or whatever. Here are some of the coins that were down. Obviously now this is when they hit their bottoms, but these are some of the recoveries here on some of the coins. You can see that Tau was down 75% from all-time high. Render down 72%. So these were in my opinion, golden opportunities. And still, I think we are in a little bit of an accumulation zone. I do think we could have a little bit of a pullback here, and we'll share that in the charts in a moment, what my thoughts are on that. And certainly, it was quite interesting to note that, 45K is quite a critical level. If you look here, mining companies, the cost to mine Bitcoin is 45K. Below this level in past downturns has confirmed a bear market. So this is why I was very cautious on people saying, 40K, 30K. I'm like, we're kind of talking about bear market here. We're talking about the bull market being over. And I just don't see that right now, especially with the Fed starting to inject some liquidity, possible rates coming in September or maybe sooner, who knows. But Japan pausing the rate hikes there. Certainly for me, I just didn't feel that. While it's possible, remember, there's no certainties in trading. There's only probabilities. And I think the probability of breaking down below 45K is very low. It exists, but it's very low. I think the probability of coming even down to 45 is very low. We almost went to 47. That would be where I was kind of thinking we could possibly go, and we didn't quite get there. There was a lot of longs that would have been liquidated there at that level. Certainly, we've had a nice rebound and recovery since then. So let's just see how we go with the markets over this coming week. But I do think really look at your portfolio, look at the budget that you have. Don't overextend yourself. Don't risk money. But there could be some more buying opportunities on the way if we have a little bit more of a pullback. I don't know if we're going to go below the low that we just had, though. And then, of course, we have the 200 day EMA, which I've talked to you about before, and I'll keep going on about. This has just been, usually you can see it every time Bitcoin's come, tagged it. We're under it right now, by the way. It's been a good buying opportunity. So just keep that in mind when you're trading. These signals do tell us stories. Historically, history doesn't always repeat, but often rhymes. And so if we do see a repeat here, then we should see quite a good extended move from Bitcoin up from here. This could be from now until the end of the year, and maybe by the end of the year it will be too late. Maybe it will already take on, could be really good buying opportunities. So certainly I've got my dollar cost average strategy here. As you can see, if we look over here, I've got education. So I cover all my HODL accumulate. My getting started video is here. I've added the swing trade area here. So those of you who want separate portfolios, because I do have all these coins over on the HODL portfolio over here. I might change this name to the HODL, the entries and take profit for HODL. This is more of the swing trade here. If you took some of these trades, you're already going to be up significantly. I mean, Tau went up to, the average here would have been 180, and someone had said they bought around 180. And I think it went up all the way to 275. So these are all coins. How have I kind of come over these coins to select these coins? And I may add to some of these, but these are the ones for now that I'm focused on. And this dip particularly is because of good tokenomics. Okay, these coins all have had good tokenomics, which means their supply is within a manageable range. Some of the supply is very low, like Banana only has 10 million. And Tau only has 21 million. Of course, we know Bitcoin only has 21 million. Tau is following Bitcoin's model pretty much exactly. And then they also, most if not all, have their circulating supply is all released. So you don't have all these VCs and seed investors waiting to dump tokens whenever there's token unlocks and suppress the price here, like we've seen some of the tokens on the market. And so these are the ones I've focused on. And what does that mean? And these are all ones that have done well against Bitcoin. So remember that Bitcoin has really outperformed most of the market. So these are coins that have outperformed Bitcoin in this market by and large. Of course, some of them are down against Bitcoin at the moment because Bitcoin dominance has been crushing. But certainly over the course of the cycle have performed well against Bitcoin. And so, and of course, they have great utility, good price action, and there's demand on the token. What does that mean? When a token has good tokenomics, it means it takes less liquidity for that coin to move. Okay, and that's why we've seen great rebounds for all of these coins, significant rebounds. I should really add a column in here to show what percentage they've jumped since the bottom, but they've all had very, very good rebounds there. And so this is why I have chosen that. And also we have an others chart here where I've added all your requests in here. And so, yeah, I do own a couple of these, HNT and Fetch, but the others I do not. Just full disclosure, but these are all requests for you to put in here. I haven't kept this. I'm sure some of these entries have been hit, and I haven't updated that. So certainly keep track on that. And then these are all the original HODL that we have here. A lot of these entries are now fill, and it'll just be time to wait to start to take profit on the way up. Of course, if we find a local top, I will alert on this channel that we are in a local top, and if I am selling there. I also have the stocks there that we've seen quite a few of those buy orders be hit. And I haven't put the take profits in there yet. I will get around to that where I plan to take profit on these. These are more longer term holds. I don't have a swing trade for these coins at the time. Although if I do identify a local top on a coin, I might take profit a little bit sooner. So I have a little bit of flexibility there within the stocks. And of course, I have the exits here for those coins that have been weak performers here. And some of you have requested some exit areas for getting out of these coins on the way up. Of course, you're more than welcome just to rip the Band-Aid off. I've done that before. I just ripped the Band-Aid off and rolled it into another token. And but obviously, dollar cost averaging out is also another way. Lots of links here. Certainly, BitUnix is becoming more and more a popular exchange for US users who are stuck paying huge fees and horrible spreads and limited a number of coins on Coinbase, Uphold, or Crypto.com. I show in my Getting Started video, which is over here, right here, on how to move your liquidity from Coinbase, Uphold, or Crypto.com to like a BitUnix. If you are signing up a BitUnix, I do kindly ask and request that if you can use this link, not only will you get reduced trading fees, but it helps support me and helps us support this channel. So I'd really appreciate it. Of course, you don't have to, but I would really appreciate that. If you're outside the USA, there's other exchanges such as BitGet, there's Bybit. The one that I like the most is probably Mexi. For non-US users, there's also OKX, Sol Exchange, KuCoin, probably one of my favorites as well. And then there's Bybit and BitGet as well. And of course, I will be giving an update soon on the Musk Empire and Hamster Kombat. That's a video that's coming soon. There's been some updates there, so I want to update the community on that. All right, we're going to have a quick look at the charts here. And so we can see that Bitcoin dominance is really starting to pick up again. And that's why alts have kind of cooled off. Now, Bitcoin dominance going up with the Bitcoin price having a rebound means alts don't necessarily get wrecked. It gives them a little bit of chance to breathe, and they can move up a little bit. And we saw there was a little bit of pullback. And I think on the 4-hour chart, we see this a little bit more. This is where we saw altcoins start to pump. And so we saw Bitcoin prominence down. Now we're seeing altcoins start to kind of level off, drop a little bit because Bitcoin dominance is coming up again. And so keep an eye on the Bitcoin dominance chart. We are seeing it fill this wick. And if we create a higher high there, that would be very bearish, could be quite bearish for altcoins. So just keep that in mind if you wanted to lock in any profits. If you're doing any short-term trading, keep an eye on that because you might want to scoop those profits off the table if we see that start to really push out there, okay? And then look at the Bitcoin price. Remember, Bitcoin dominance with Bitcoin price going down, as we saw, will crush alts. Bitcoin dominance going up and the price of Bitcoin going up, alts can run with that. Ideally, the best case scenario for alts, what you want to look for is Bitcoin price going sideways or just marginally going up in little bits, not like huge jumps. And you want to see Bitcoin price coming down. Not Bitcoin price, so Bitcoin dominance going down and Bitcoin price stabilized, trading within a small range, just kind of going sideways. That for me, I've found to always be the ideal scenario. Okay, so look what we've got here. So I did identify in yesterday's video and on the Discord. So if you're not on the Discord, you can get signed up by going to the link below, stockswithjosh.com. I'm in the crypto channel there. But we saw this big wick here. So I want to talk about this wick. Now, generally, there's some market likes to rebalance. Half of this wick is going to be 51,500. So there is a likelihood that Bitcoin does come back down and get around half of that wick. And I would see the same for most of the altcoins as well. If you look at the Ethereum chart, it's going to look very, very similar to the Bitcoin chart. So that is a strong possibility. Do I see us going below this wick? I think the probability of us going below here is less. Yes, there is a probability. Yes, there is some leveraged longs that would be liquidated down there. There's a lot of buy orders at 47, by the way. So I do see, I think to the downside, I'm thinking worst case scenario is hitting around that 47 level. But I'm not actually seeing that. I'm actually seeing the most likely scenario for me is to come down here and get this 51,500. It's not saying that that will happen. It's a possible scenario that I think is quite possible. Certainly it may not. We might find some support now on this 55,900. So it'll be very interesting to see because we had some trouble busting through this 55,900. Now this was the close of the July 4th dump that we had around the 8th July. And we had some problem getting through that. Now we've busted through that. Now will we come back and retest that as support? If we retest that in support and bounce off it, I think then we come and look and get to 59,500 or around that, 59,500 to get above the 200 EMA on the daily. And so that would be the next level that we would need to try and get above. A rejection there could have us just chopping around in here for a little while. But I think as long as we stay above this level, if we lose this 55,900 and close below it, then I think that really does bring in this 51,500 level. But if we can maintain this level and stay above it and close above it, then we can start attacking this level here. And then same thing, look at getting through there as well. Okay. I think that's about it. I have covered a fair bit of stuff today, and certainly I hope that's helped people out. I will be in the Discord. Again, you have my cheat sheet here, and you have all the different resources. I keep adding to this all the time. I just want to make this a really amazing resource for our community, a kind of area that people can come and get a lot of resources, a lot of help, different buy prices, sell prices. I'll be adding more and more to this as we go on, just to really make this as best I can for our community. All right. Well, as always, for all of you out there, wherever you're tuning in from around the world, again, I appreciate you so much. And until the next episode of here at Tribal Trades, happy trading.